Alright, I just designed a video on how I designed a guitar riff to do something special. And I want to redo the intro, so this is the intro. Here's the deal. If you are a guitar student and you are learning off YouTube and you are learning scales and theory and chords and stuff like that, what I've seen over the years is that YouTube guitar students, I'm not trying to sound offensive, I'm trying to help you here. YouTube guitar students have this innate ability to never listen to how they actually sound and just plow forward on the theory aspect. Now, if you record yourself or if you listen to yourself and you're not happy with how you sound on the guitar, it's because we're not studying the physical prowess and ability that you need to make the guitar sound like a guitar, and I'll explain that. Saxophone, harp, piano, any instrument can learn scales and theory and chords, but the idea is if you're not studying how to play the guitar like a guitar, and I will explain that, you might as well have picked up a piano or harp or saxophone. If you were inspired by any guitar player, you need to study what makes the guitar sound like a guitar. And there are some unique physical features that you need to conquer and make easy and relaxed in your playing. And if you don't do that, you're gonna sound heavy-handed or too light of a touch. You're gonna sound like you're over plucking or that you can't get dynamics down. And the idea is, if you're studying guitar, that bird has something to say. If you are studying, he agrees with me. If you're studying guitar, you have to study the physical abilities, and you have to stop making excuses for yourself. I have short, stubby hands. I can do it. Am I the world's best guitar player? No, but what I'm saying is I can do this. You kind of want to. You can't use the excuse anymore. Well, I can't do this. All right. And so I designed a riff that gives you and the listener the sound of a guitar. And to make a long story short, all those sounds come from the blues. It's the blues guitar player, the history, the passion, the emotion of a blues guitar player who transitioned over into the rock world. They went from playing over ones, fours, and fives onto different chord progressions, and they brought that technique. There's a difference, right, between a blues guitar player and a jazz guitar player. Jazz guitar players emulate piano players, but blues guitar players brought in the bending, brought in the blues finger bar, brought in the hammer-ons and pull-offs and slides and all these things that identify that you are listening to a guitar and a guitar only. All of the riffs that you love, all the top 100 guitar players, everything, they have these elements to it. Otherwise, they would have just been played on a piano. All right, so this riff I designed for you to put the excuses away and play this riff. If you can't play this riff exactly how it's designed, then you got to work on your technique. And just let you know, technique is never like a struggle. Everything's loosey-goosey. The more you loosen up, the better everything becomes. I'll stop talking. Let's get to the riff. If you're watching this video, you're taking lessons off of YouTube. And somebody needs to tell you, hey, you need to not only practice what works, right? The theory and stuff, and the scales and the chords, yes, but you got to practice what is unique to guitar, all right? You don't have to shred, you can keep it simple, but the idea is this gives you the sound of guitar. I'm doing this on acoustic because it's harder, and so if you want to do it on acoustic, great. If you do this on electric, fine. All right, so let me show you the riff that I designed so that you can see it, and then we can discuss how to play it, okay? Everything that is unique to guitar is in this riff, and you want to be able to play this riff precisely. If you do, then you have the technique down, and you want to work on your technique. Trust me. Okay, here we go. So that's the riff right there. It's an A minor blues type riff. All right, so let's take a look. Okay, this ball joint that I call blues finger, I have a video about it that I mentioned. If you go and watch any video of your favorite guitar player soloing, their first finger's down. Yes, they move it to like move and stuff, but if you watch a lot of fulcrum action, okay? All right, locking this thing down in the form 1 pentatonic. Okay, this pentatonic, however you want to do it. All right, it stays down. It doesn't lock down, it moves, okay? Look, I'm staying on this. I can move my finger, I can move my thumb. I'm staying on these strings, right? Right? You have to, it's not a lockdown. it moves. So I put my blues finger down and I bend this note. Now, bending all the fingers. Now, this is a soft bend. Like, this isn't a full, a full note bend. This is a half. We're kind of bending just to there. Then back. Now, my blues finger's off, but it comes right back. Now notice my guitar is pointed upwards. Do not practice guitar like this. That's the worst thing you can do for yourself. If you look at every guitar player, the guitars are pointed up, and that's a huge thing. A lot of people say, oh, I can't arc my wrist out. And it's like, no, just angle it up, and you want to be able to push your wrist out and get this ball joint of movement. You have to, all right? So you have that blues finger's down, grab that 8th fret, and slide into the 10th fret. And I don't come off the strings until I pluck. Now I go to I'm on the 10th fret, and now I'm leaving it down, letting it ring. Going to the 8th fret of the high E string, back here, back to the B string. There's the bend, there's blues finger, slide. Now we're going to get our first finger stays down. This is part of blues finger, okay? It stays down. It has to stay down. A lot of guitars have fulcrum action, where the first finger is just, hey, I'm here. All right, so we did this. Now, ring finger to the 10th fret, bend to the 12th. That's a major third bend, okay? Eight, 10. All right, first part. First finger stays down. We're going to come up with our ring finger to 11 and then pull off to 10. And then, double pull off. Okay, so pull offs are unique to the guitar. And now we do a different type of pull off. We're going to stretch up with our middle finger. My dog is barking. Okay, so now leave your first finger down. Look how I tilt that hand. That hand's moving. I'm not locking it down. I'll say something about this after the video, okay? But this is moving. So I have, let's say, okay, back up on the first finger, pull offs. All right. That's one pluck. Second pull off is I stretch up my middle finger, this huge stretch, and I slide it, and I pull off. So you have this double pull off and a slide pull off. Alright, now back with the ring finger to the 10th fret of the B string. Actually, no, middle finger. Excuse me, middle finger of the B string, and my first finger still on that 8th fret. And I get my ring finger on the 10th fret of the high E string, and I pluck up and do a pull off. And then back to the B string. Alright, now, I'm going to stop here for a second. If you can just do this, great. If you are struggling to have that push, the push, okay, that is mostly guaranteed. Angle your guitar neck up, drop your wrist. Now, before we do the second half, I want to say this, and this is going to ruffle a lot of feathers, but you know what? I've been teaching for so long, and I see this, and us guitar students, we make excuses. Oh, I have short hands, I can't arc my wrist out. Now, I'm sure there's some of you, percentage, that might have some sort of something going on. But the excuses, I've heard them all. I mean, look, I have short, stubby hands, all right? Like, and I can do this stuff. Am I amazing at it? I don't know, but I can do this stuff, right? And I will say you're going to see, if you notice, go look at the top 100 guitar players of all time, or your favorite guitar player. I doubt they're playing those ergonomic slanted guitar fret things. You know, the guitars that have the slants to it. The guitars that have the slanted frets to it are for people who are convinced they have to lock their finger down and has to stay in one place and don't realize it's a ball joint, all right? Nobody plays those no famous or guitar players that I listen to or you listen to or that have been on this channel play an ergonomic guitar, because the idea is the frets, like your first finger, it needs to move. There's this movement here, like it moves. It's why the back of the guitar neck has a glossy, finish to it, so you can slide your thumb around. And people are convinced you have to stay still, so they buy these guitars. They're like, oh, this is better for me to stretch out. And it's like, well, no. Like when you're playing any bar chord, like things move. Like look at that first finger, So that's just my rant and rave. Okay, part 2. Alright, so we come back to the A minor position, and we're grabbing a double stop here on the 5th fret of the G and the 7th fret of D. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And now, the 4th note is a double stop with a hammer on. We're taking our middle finger and hammering it onto the 6th fret of the G string. It's the major 3rd. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 4. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Okay? I'm plucking on that 4. 1, 2, 3. I lied to you. I'm plucking the G and B string. I apologize. Then move that middle finger to the 7th fret, slide to 9, sliding, right? You have to be able to slide forward and back, and then we have a sliding 6. Now, sliding 6, I put my ring finger on the high E string on the 9th fret. Video popping up about how easy sliding 6 are to understand in case you're confused by the terrible jargon out there by sliding 6. Check it out, okay? But this is sliding 6. We're on 9 and 9, so we have. And now I'm putting my fingers down on 9th fret of the G string, 9th fret of the high E string. I have my middle finger, okay, this is part of the technique, leaning so that I'm muting the B string. I don't have to worry about it. And I'm gonna bring it back to the 7s. Now I opened up my fingers there just to show you, but okay, I keep them close. Sorry, I ended with that kind of little bar there. Now we're gonna do a rake. It's you can only do rakes on guitar. I mean, maybe violin, maybe a harp, but you're gonna get your palm on the strings right next to the bridge, not over here, and you come off that palm when you get the high E string. Okay, so the next part is, and I'm holding my blues finger down here. Look at the angle of this one, using my pinky. Okay, I'm gonna pull off the 5th fret on the B string from 8 to 5, 7th fret of the G string. So then I'm going to pull this to the minor 3rd. There it is, sorry. Now, look at that blues finger. Okay, I'm on the G, B, and E string. I'm going to pull on that G string. That's the minor 3rd. This is a blues curl. This is not just in blues. This is in all of rock guitar, where you're taking a minor 3rd, just bending a little. Now my blues finger's off right when I get to that D string. Now I'm pulling off from 7 to 5 on the D string to the 7th fret of the A. And then, let's see. 5th fret of the A string, 3rd fret. This is the minor 3rd. We're going to bend it slightly into that 4th fret slightly. 2nd fret. That's the major 2nd. We're going to bend it to the minor 3rd, and then open A. And usually just do an A5 chord. Don't hit that B string. So I just want to say this. We ignore how we sound in favor of what we know. That's the worst thing we can do as guitar students. I see it all the time, all right? And this riff is designed to get you over that. You have to really stop with the excuses of what your hands can and can't do. Learn the real technique of what it means to play guitar. That's what this is, all right? All of my students, every single one that I've met, had a level of this where it needed more fine-tuning, more realization that we can't just play notes on the guitar. We can't. We have to learn the techniques that make guitar unique, and that's what this is about. So, if you want to practice with me on Patreon, I'm going to have a completely different riff built with these techniques. We're going to knock the excuses out, all right? And I really want you to practice this stuff, because when you do, you're going to hear the difference between just focusing on what you know versus playing guitar. You'll sound better. You will feel better. So get on this. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this helped at least one person. This is my message to the world. When it's time for you to hear it, it's here. If it was assault on your ears, I apologize. I'm just calling it like it is. We have to focus on the technique that makes guitar unique and get it done. Rock and roll. Bye-bye.